Welcome to PAO Fans International. You're joined by Nick, Panathafan. Welcome, boys.
Evening,
Good,
boys.
good to be back. Never a dull moment with this club. I feel like I say that every week, but it's true. Literally, we've been in the news day in, day out without fail,
And we're making the news even in England because of the
worldwide.
Benitez buzz. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Moves that should have been done in May are now being done in October. Only us.
So much to digest, though, isn't it? The good and the bad. So
Always got to do the good with bad. Always got to do. Let's kick things off with the amazing. Straight away, the amazing. Papadimitriou gone. Delios. Official. He even made a statement that he thanked Alafouzo, thanking him and all the work they did together, including two cups. Like a cup for our club is a major achievement, and the sales that they did, like the guy that he wanted to get rid of for starters, not renew the contract with Vianidis, and had nothing to do with Forti. What a guy! What a guy! I can't really see him working another gig like maybe bottom half Greek team.
he's one of those guys where you look at him and go, how did you end up getting that job? How did you last that long?
Two
Yeah,
and a half years.
2.5 years getting paid what I suspect to be very good money, and he failed on so many levels, and yet he still sells himself as success. I mean, he's one of a kind.
And he
And
wanted to keep the job as a scout or something, or to learn from the TDs. He just was a cockroach. He was just not willing to give it up.
and when you use the cockroach term, the guy is a survivor. He managed to somehow weasel his way into 2.5 years and still wouldn't give up at the end, fighting to the end, even though even though he did an absolute woeful job.
Yeah,
Uh,
Only Alafuzos will keep him employed for 2.5 years.
and it took the Baldini
Yeah.
consulting to point out the scouting, obviously, and the TD. So
So, for those who know history, and I'm going off at a tangent here, Rasputin from the 19th century, the guy was a menace. They tried to kill him so many times, and somehow he kept surviving. He's the modern day Rasputin. They couldn't kill him in the end. They finally succeeded. Just this is a comedy show, it really is.
It took Baldini. Imagine if Alafuzzo didn't hire him. Papadimitriou would still be here.
he'd still have a job. And look, it's the right thing that's happened, obviously. So the TDs, the scouting, it's going to get invested. There's going to be money. There's going to be proper scouting. Everything we've brought back. Zeka, former captain, as a scout now to look at Portugal, look at I think Brazil, the South Americas. So something that we've been lacking. It's been far too long that our targets have been 30 plus from the Balkans, from Spain, from everywhere else, but not targeting these young players that we can actually make money from. We can find gems from there and start establishing ourselves as a good option for players to step up if they want to, if they're successful in Greece, to move on. Then we can make a pretty penny out of them as well. So it's been that works with a lot of the Portuguese clubs as well, that they've got their scouts. They always find hidden gems and they make good money from them. So it's time that or I think we're about 10 years behind 15 years behind them, but fuck, finally, it's what we've been screaming out for. More
Mm.
definitely, I've been screaming out for: get younger, get these hidden gems.
Not only get younger, get Greek as well. With our failed academy, which is another thing Baldini's pinpointed.
And it's something that Benitez said, and we'll talk about his press conference as well, that we need more Greeks, but we need to find a better balance, and we need to find a balance between Greek and good players. But that all starts with the academy. That all starts with
Absolutely.
identifying talent as well. So it's been, yeah, an interesting week on that front. We'll get straight away into the big match, our biggest and hardest European match, which was the final away trip, where we lost 3-1. Swiderski in the 18th, that was the play between Kyriakopoulos and I think it was Jurisic, where Jurisic played Kyriakopoulos through into the box. His shot came off the post. Swiderski was there, and he, with his right foot, just got it in, gave us the lead, shock lead. Then in the 48th minute, after 2 minutes injury time, we'll go down with that play where Swiderski was on one side of the field, appealed for a penalty. They ensured the counter-attack. Players had their backs turned. Players didn't track other players. The guy put a very good cross in, and it was horrible conditions. Ingerson couldn't get ahead to it. Kyriakopoulos couldn't react to it, and then the right back scored. And then in the 55th minute, Musa absolutely torched Kyriakopoulos, just sent him flying twice, not just once, twice. That guy was a very skillful player. That was a very nice goal from them. Can't do much about that. And then in the 90th minute, to just put the icing on the cake, Laren for them, beat the offside trap. Very lazy defense. I think Mortuba was the main culprit there with the just being lazy. Just miss-hit the first time and then just tapped it in the second time. How do you guys see the game?
Far away, Nick.
Oh, where do you begin with this one? Because the lead up in itself was crazy. We had the 24 hours before the game, I think it was called Storm Benjamin, where they brought kickoff forward by 2 hours, 15 minutes. So it was heading for a 1:30 a.m. kickoff. Then all of a sudden the storm was happening earlier than expected. And there was talks of postponing it completely, pushing it back a day. The logical thing ended up happening where they pushed it back to the later kickoffs in line with the bulk of the Europa League games. So for us, it became 6 a.m. And you wonder, did that build up have any impact on the game? They were a bit, first half especially, Feyenoord, a bit flat out of the blocks. I mean, they probably had control for most of the game, but they didn't really threaten us until their goal. In the first half, I thought we were the ones that, okay, against the run of play, but we kept them at arm's length and it was played, okay, like it was they controlled it, but we kept them at arm's length and it was our terms. And we took it, in my eyes at least, a deserved lead, and it all changed when Tete couldn't make it 2-0. That was the turning point. I'm certain Feyenoord are a top side. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to go deep in this tournament. But if he makes it 2-0, we'd probably go away and win that game. I'm confident of it, I'd say. Instead, I don't know what he's thinking. It's that we've said it before. This game again followed. It's a carbon copy where all our games follow the similar pattern. Take the lead, have chances to make it 2-0. That lack of big game mentality, composure is lacking, that killer instinct. Then we eat a goal, we cop a goal, and the whole complexion of the game changes. And it's a mentally piss-weak team, and you know what's happening as soon as they equalise, and that's what happened in this game. Even as you said, Sturge, after their chance, Swiderski, just don't play for a penalty. Take the shot first go, first touch. There was Ait Larnaca, the Bosnian striker, against Crystal Palace. Ait Larnaca beat him. Their striker taught our guys a lesson on how to finish. Don't think about it. Don't ever think it. One touch, bang, finish. Swiderski instead, you get what you deserve. He looks for a penalty when he shouldn't have, and they go down the other end and score, and lazy all round from Ingerson to Kyriakopoulos to not cutting it out on our right flank. Well, I don't know where to begin with that one. A proper disaster. Then, as I said, 1-1, they're going to go ahead in the second half and they're going to find the goal without a doubt. That's exactly what happened. They bossed the game. They moved through the gears the first 20, 30 minutes. I wouldn't say they were great, but definitely they stepped up. They took a deserved lead, and then they had a penalty given, correctly overturned. We have a chance, more of a, in my eyes, at least a half chance that's set in. For me, the angle was tight. I wasn't expecting much from there. And that was it. Like, we didn't really fire a glove. Couldn't lay a glove on them after that. And they made it 3-1, and they easily could have made it 4-1 as well. Then we look at our subs. They came too late. Taborda, we're going to speak, I think, about this guy at length in this episode and moving forward when Bakasetas is now injured. And here we are. We've spent $5 million on this guy. And let's see what Rafa does with him. But he barely featured even in this one. It's one to keep an eye on, I'd say. Let's see what happens against Atromitos with Taborda. If I'm to look at positives, cling on to some sort of hope, is the rich vein of forms Widerski is in all of a sudden, where he was our backup striker this season, and he's doing a job at the moment. We really can't complain. It's like a goal a game at the moment. That if he's doing that, in my eyes at least, he's minimum 7, if not 8 out of 10. And for me, in the bigger picture, the overall positive is our fans. That feels like, for me, it's the only positive with this club at the moment is the fan base. In those conditions and the constant kickoff changes, 4,000 of our fans, the atmosphere in the away bay was incredible. And the videos of them before the game in the rain, in the Horto Mágico, and you see our fans in the home end as well. That for me, that's the biggest positive. And that after that, that's the end of the Condis chapter, once and for all at Panathinaikos.
Yeah, I think that one's for good, that one.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not going to add a hell of a lot in terms of the review of the game. I think, Nick, you summed up my thoughts to a T. The emphasis on the weak mentality of this squad. And it's been talked about now in the media and amongst various circles, so that's nothing new. And the coach, as in Benitez, knows that he's going to have to address that. If I had to try to get a positive out of the game, the first half, we played okay. We weren't fantastic, but we were okay. And like you said, Nick, should have been 2-0 up.
Should have.
Could have been 3-0 up. And I'll say that I've defended Swiderski most of the time, and when he scores a goal a game, I'm never going to be overly critical of him, but it's frustrating as well seeing him have those chances and he just doesn't take them like a true striker would, and ends up just falling over like he's got a fairy tap. And really we should have done better in those sorts of situations, but it is what it is. He scored the goal. We can't ask for a hell of a lot more than that. But again, I go back to the first half. If Benitez finds a way to extend that first half performance into 90 minutes, then we've got a much better chance of getting some great results in the second half of the season. So that's the challenge. This team has got the ability, if they sort of gel and come together and apply themselves for 90 minutes. I really seriously doubt, though, whether some players got the ability to last 90 minutes, and I'm happy to sort of break that down further. And there's a few players that just don't have the stamina, and Calabria is a case in point. And the challenge is that with this game showed again, and you know what? If I look at the young boys game, that's probably the only game where we actually played better in the second half, upon reflection. And if we did that this game against Feyenoord, then we'd be praising them right now. But unfortunately not. Feyenoord's a great team. We copped the loss. We move on. We've lost 2-1-1. We've played
That's
two.
the killer.
But we've played 2 away games. So technically speaking, we're on form in terms of our home game or our home ground status. So not all lost. Benitez has got a bit of work though.
If we had won against Go Ahead, no one would be whinging. We'd be sitting pretty, in fact, 6 points after 3 games. I'd be delighted with that.
Yeah.
It's the killer is now we're sitting in 22nd spot with 3 points after 3 games. And I guess, okay, so you can talk about it because it's a separate competition. Malmo up next. They're not playing that well. They're struggling. They've lost their domestic league, but it's going to be tricky going in the cold.
Are
And
we
we
playing
struggle.
anyway?
We struggle against teams like that, like Dugard last
You
year.
guys last year, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, with go ahead, and sorry, Nick, they did beat Aston Villa, so
I don't want to hear the name go ahead again. Both my teams. I'm set up.
so yeah, could be a bit of beginner's luck, but yeah, they should have scored. I mean, breakaway, one-on-one with the keeper. He's got the far post that was like begging for him to put it in there, and he just kicks it straight at the keeper. Sudeski, who I took aim at, and I still believe rightfully so. He's scoring, which fantastic, fantastic. But it's this whole mentality that we can't just rest on laurels just because you scored one. You can be excusable for missing other chances because had he taken that shot, whatever, whether the keeper saves it, it goes out, whatever, that whole momentum sort of changes. I think the outplayers were too focused on that penalty shout because Swiderski was focusing on that penalty shout and just the heads all fell right before half time when you should probably just be the most alert at that point, just see out the half. And that's the frustrating thing about that. Look, final, I think we said it in the preview, that right-hand side was the danger side, and that right-hand side absolutely torched us. Reed and Musa were very good players. Jurisic, I don't think, could keep up with Reed, and Jurisic isn't 100%, and he just, yeah, I put a lot more blame on Jurisic, Tete on that first goal rather than Kyriakopoulos because it was the right back that came up and scored. And when the ball came crossing in, Ingerson goes to the diving header, doesn't make contact. So Kyriakopoulos can't really adjust, make time to clear that out. So, and he doesn't know the right back's behind him because he was busy coming in for the right winger. So I can't fully blame Kyriakopoulos for that. So he's a little bit to blame. Maybe obviously be more aware, etc., etc. But it's hard to pinpoint him as the main culprit, anything like that. But yeah, look, I didn't really think Arnold were ultra
No,
impressive, to be honest.
no,
I thought they
no.
were a good European team, but nothing great. Like I said, 1-0, even 2-0, and I agree, Nick. 2-0, we get something out of that game.
For
Whether we
sure.
win
We probably win.
or, yeah, win or even draw. We get something out of that game. But, yeah, it wasn't meant to be. It really wasn't meant to be. So it was Cortez's last game, who is now, from all reports, going to Orphy, accepting the Orphy job. So good on him. I think he deserves a full-time gig and deserves to prove himself in the Greek Super League. But good luck to him for that. But yeah, 22 points. Look, the 22nd spot, we're not in a great position, but we have played fine all the way. So we have played one of our hard ones, and even young boys. Did we honestly expect to go there for a win? Well, going in as underdogs as well into that one. Go ahead, Eagles was definitely that winnable game. So I
Funny you say that with young boys. I had that down. I was confident we'd win. I had that down as a mandatory 3 points. Granted, I didn't expect a 4-1. Since then, they've won 2 games in a row in this competition, and they're sitting pretty with 6 points.
yeah.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
So, but that's what I think I was a bit more nervous rather than confident because it was just which Panathinaikos is going to turn up. It's always that Panathinaikos that we do well in the first game of the
Yeah.
competition, and then everything falls apart. But yeah, the final game is there's going to be obviously a lot of what if questions. Why couldn't what if Kyriakopoulos stood his ground instead of diving twice on that second? Yeah, what if Tete went back post? What if Swiderski shot? So there's always going to be a lot of what ifs, and unfortunately, it all falls down on the coach or the interim coach. So, and the players almost got away scot-free. Didn't help that Bakasetas is injured, so he's got a 10-day injury. He sat the bench just to be a number there, but yeah, he is missing. So we'll hopefully see him for the Volos game. Let's move on to now the big, obviously, news and what the takeaways were from the Benitez slash Alafouzo's press conference, because there was, I think, all press conferences as they are, they say the things that you want to hear as fans. But there was, I think, two things maybe Benitez said that was worth noting, and obviously Alafouzo's dropping a big bombshell. Obviously, it's known, but he just dropped the big bombshell. So let's discuss Benitez. What did you guys think of it?
The actual presser itself.
Yeah, it was a long press conference. It was a good 1 hour.
It's what you said. Nothing. I didn't really take too much away from that. He said what you expect him to say. From now on, I'm of the opinion it's going to be actions and results, not words. I'm not going to buy into it. And the big bombshell is what you said with the guy sitting next to him. I don't know why he wants to make himself front and center of these press conferences. He's done it before with previous coaches in years gone by, and it's never ended well. In his eyes, he probably thinks, "Oh wow, I've landed this big name elite coach." I'm trying to get in his head and think how he thinks. I can't think of it any other way. And he's trying to show him off. Look what I've got. Look what I've brought here. The biggest coach, biggest name coach to ever coach in Greece, €4 million a year. No coach in Greece has ever received that. I don't know what he's trying to prove being there though, and trying to steal the thunder.
I think it's because it's a coach that he's dreamt of bringing for a long time.
Yeah.
So this is his victory. This is his pride and joy. So he gets the shot off.
That's what it is.
And without Papadimitriou there,
Yes.
there's really no one else in the club that would represent the club in terms of that signing from a seniority point of view. The only one maybe is Fissa, but I wouldn't say that that's really Fissa.
If you put someone like Fissas or Zavelas there, fans would have lost it.
Yeah, but to be fair to Fissa was all over in the videos there. So he was with the introduction. So
He was, and no disrespect to Fissa, but that's not really his primary responsibility.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But it looked like obviously they're gonna have a good, close working relationship. The way I saw that.
Yep. Which I'm hoping it actually works out really well with Fissa and Benitez. But further to Nick's point, I listened to it, and I can't say there's anything that stood out as unusual or maybe raised my eyebrows. I mean, there's a lot of. He said all the right things. I can't fault anything he said, but ultimately, I'm just waiting to see how it goes on the pitch and how the players respond. And I'll be interested to see if the players turn around and say, "Oh, it's so much better under him. You know, he's a great coach," like they did with Conte. So, and if they don't, I'm not going to be too upset either.
Well, there was one thing that he did point out, and it was something that we put up on the socials about the mentality. He did make mention of that. So he is actually, the first coach to make reference that there's a mentality issue with the club, with the team.
I think Rui did call it out last year, from memory, when
Yeah.
when we lost against Dewgarden, how we had a really poor second half, and I think he called it out back then, but he didn't really talk too much about it since.
And he didn't address it either.
No, clearly not.
So it's good that Benitez can see the obvious and actually call it out.
So it does look like, and also I'll compliment him. It did look like he's done his homework. He's come and he
For
knew
sure.
the players and he knew the team and their weaknesses. And actually, didn't he make a comment about certain players are playing well below their capability, and it's his
Yeah,
job to raise that standard?
I think
Two or three players, he said, yeah.
Yeah.
he said there's a few players that he can help. He can help reach better potential to reach a high standard. I think he didn't really say that they're playing bad. Well, he said it in a nice way, but he did say that there's a few players that he can help grow into their standard, like a higher standard, I believe was the quote or thereof. So that was interesting. He did say that.
And
Um,
it, and it does
Definitely
leave us
seen a few games, definitely, you can tell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it clearly wasn't referring to Yeremayev, who sort of plays to his top standard, but is a half a dozen players you could pick out that could relate to.
yeah, yeah. So, and it's known that he wants, obviously, he talked about like, oh, it'd be nice to get back to whatever, but obviously there's an agreement there that he will get back to some point in the transfer window. So come winter, let's see what happens there, how much Foos actually likes Benitez, and then what Benitez can do. Or let's see if there's gonna be a crack in the relationship come winter transfer window.
Okay. Are we taking predictions on what the guy sitting next to him is saying about this 1 or 2 week tell-all bombshell presser?
Well, yeah, Alafouzo did come out and say that 14 days or 2 weeks, more people will know about the future of the club. Now, that is obviously alluding to the fact that he wants, or for sale, he's obviously going to look at investors, potential change of ownership. It's something that has been rumored for a while, but nothing really with evidence has come out until now. Now is straight from the horse's mouth that he's gonna be looking to sell. So obviously it was the rumored around the time of the stadium, but now it looks could be even before that, because if you listen to the podcast I did with Leo Foros, and that was a fantastic podcast. So if you haven't listened to that, please listen to that. And he gives really good insight into himself, ownership, the club itself. Um, he said in terms of ownership, it could be someone that rich, mega rich person that attends the games, but you just don't know who it is. Similar to what happened with Olympiacos sale, similar to what happened with Ike's sale, that Iliopoulos was there the whole time, but no one picked up on it. So just could be a mega rich Panathinaikos fan just waiting for Alafouzo to say, okay, I'm ready to sell, and that's it.
Let's hope it's that. Let's hope for the best. I am worried where not even he knows what comes next. He could change his mind tomorrow. This guy, he's got a track record of that. Let's wait and see. Let's hope it's not some malakia or something irrelevant. Let's hope it's I want to sell. The club is officially up for sale. They're the words I want to hear.
I suspect, and I hope I'm wrong, but I suspect it's probably going to be more management changes or management appointments rather than a sale. And I know that it's been talked about quite openly in social media that Alafouzo is probably best placed to sell the club once the stadium is finished to maximise the sale value. So that's where I'm doubtful that he's going to announce something from now, and when the full positive changes or effects of the changes he's made with Baldini and others has come into effect yet. So hope I'm wrong, but yeah, as the Greeks say, hold a small basket, mikro kalati, because I've come to expect very little in terms of real meaningful change.
I don't
You've
know.
let us down too many times.
Yeah.
I actually believe that there may be a sale. I actually just really feel it that there will be a sale.
Part of me agrees. I don't think now it could be something along the lines of at season's end.
Yeah.
Because it can't carry on like this. Like every loss, it feels like this season more than ever. Every time we drop points, something happens off the field, on the field. The murmurs of discontent are growing louder and louder. It's never been like this before.
Yeah.
But if I
He's
look at
probably popped, big heads. It's got him finally in his head, and he's probably had enough. His wife passed away as well.
But
yeah,
it hasn't stopped him. It's actually probably put him more involved in Panathinaikos, really.
Yeah, I know.
So,
most of the value I see though is in the stadium deal and the surrounding property income is going to come from that. So until the stadium is up and running and if they got leases locked away and there's rental income, it's guaranteed from the time of the purchase. Then you're relying on trade up income, and that's going to take a while. So the full value of that precinct is going to take a few years to realize. And that's why I'm saying that you sell it now, you're selling it at a discount to future value because of that income yet to be proven up. And trying to put a business or commercial lens on it.
yeah.
Unless he's got other business ventures he wants to invest in and it's an opportunity cost. Get the money in now, reinvest it and grow the money from now as opposed to wait for 2 years' time for the stadium to be complete.
But yeah, it's just interesting on what his mindset is. Like, is he in it really for maximizing his money? Who knows? He probably is. But it's just, come on, like, just sell up. Just sell up and go. Like, he's not wanted. Like, even today's chance. Like, and we'll get to today's game now. Panathinaikos Atromitos, which was played at Leoforos in probably like a 70% full stadium. I was honestly expecting a lot more, especially in the VIP
Yeah,
seats.
me too.
I thought that was going to be full, but it really wasn't. We won 2-0. We finally got 2 goals and kept a clean sheet, which is positive, and we saw off a match, but the first goal came from Sudeski, the 45th plus 5 minutes penalty. That was a penalty, and it was a penalty. It came from the corner where Dragowski was completely pulled and dragged down. VAR intervened, called the referee over. That's what pretty much took the time. And in the 69th minute, courtesy of a brilliant Seren free kick, he whipped in what I would say is the perfect ball. 10 out of 10, magnificent ball in the spot where keeper can't really come out for it. It's going to be tricky for a defender to try and clear it out. And then that's what happened. The defender inadvertently put it into his own net to give us the 2-0 win. What you boys think of the match and Benitez's debut? Whoever wants it.
Okay. I think Rafa, going by historically, he makes his teams harder to beat. And we're not going to see Rafa, the fruits aren't going to be bad immediately, but you could tell we were harder to beat in the sense that we kept the clean sheet well and truly intact, and we'd still be playing now, and I still wouldn't have scored. Now, how much of that is down to Rafa and our defense? Who knows? Because Asteras were awful. They're down the bottom for a reason. Unlike them, very uncharacteristic of them. They've traditionally been a tough nut to crack, and they punch above their weight and get results against the big boys. And then you've got Coleman fuming about the penalty that was given to us and our former player, Panathafan. Like, focus on your own career and improve your performances before you talk about referees. Different if you played well, then okay. But they were awful. So I wonder how bad they were papered over. Like, did they make us look good is what I'm trying to say. Time will tell. We got the win, and that's always the most important thing. Lack of creativity going forward, and that's been the criticism of Rafa over the years. Again, who knows if that's a coincidence or not, because we've got our injuries in that final third. Felicity still out. Sanchez is back, but he only just back. He came on as a sub. Pelistri, there's Dessers, and there's also Bakasetas out. So who knows how much those absences are affecting us in that final third. But we didn't look like scoring, and it's okay, set pieces are a part of the game. So you take the goals any way they come. And it was that man again. We said it before, rich reign of form. You knew as soon as he stepped up to take that, he was going to score. That's how I felt, at least anyway. And another goal for Zviderski. That's now 7 goals in 16 games in all competitions this season. Can't complain at all. And then we did what we failed to do in previous games, and we avoided this game going down that pattern that we've spoke about earlier of our games following the same trends. We found the second goal, and we didn't find the second goal. I mean, they headed it into their own net, but job done is what I'm trying to say. And by Teddy, who whipped it in, Sterg was saying, like, it's in that, he put it in that sweet spot where the keeper can't collect. And exactly that. You force their player to make a decision to head it anywhere. And there's always a chance of that happening. And when your luck's down, like they're down on confidence as well. Asteras, when you're down basically. And that played into our hands. And at 2-0, it was obviously game over. And from there, it was all academic. And Bundovic, I feel like he should have done better at the end to make it. If he's not going to make it 3-0, at least put it on target. Because I think now with Rafa coming in, that spells the end of Yeremeyev. I think if Kondis was there, we would have seen Yeremeyev come on instead of Bundovic. Whereas now we're going to be seeing Bundovic come on, and we'll get onto the Atromitos preview, but I think we're going to see Bundovic start in that game. Nota Borda in this game as well, very telling. Zurisic had to play in his old number 10 position. The 2 guys behind him in midfield, like, it wasn't going to go drastic changes early doors formation-wise. It was that 4-3-3, but more of a 4-2-3-1 where Zurisic is obviously more attacking minded. So you've got Vega and Sedin a bit deeper, and I thought they were both quite good. Then there's the injury to Calabria, so we're going to have to call on Kotsiras for an extended period now. He hasn't let us down, not only this season, but in previous seasons. I just hope he's ready for a sustained run now. Let's see.
In terms of the performance, and I'm not going to go into detail about the match because it was relatively stress-free and didn't look like we were even coming close to losing or getting a draw. But probably the part that I want to get your opinion, boys, is that we scored from a penalty. And it wasn't like it was a clear-cut chance. It was a penalty, no question. But it wasn't like he was bearing down on goal and brought down, and if he wasn't, he would have scored. It was just a stupid tackle in the box when he wasn't even near the ball. And then it was an own goal. So we failed to score an open play. And
against a team that's bottom of the league, rock bottom of the league.
Yep. And we know that this team has struggled to score since the start of the season. I think this is another game where that's the case. I think it was just fortunate. We got a penalty and we got Astera doing the job for us. But I still feel like, and on this one, Zviderski, scored the penalty, but it's a penalty, right? And you expect him to score it. So I'm still concerned about our finishing. And Bundovic, mate, come on. You're on the edge of the 6-yard box, open header, no one right next to you. You're not going to get too many chances like that. You got to put them away. And rightfully so, he came on instead of Yeremeyev. I think that despite my fun over the years and these podcasts praising him, he's out of contract. Really, he shouldn't be getting many more minutes. He should be putting the time into players like Bundovic. But at the same time, mate, you get those opportunities, you take them. Because the day is coming in a couple months. So, and he'll be taking your spot pretty quickly. So he's hoping in Bandalidi, he's not coming in the winter. He's coming in the summer, is he?
Next season.
Summer.
Yeah. So today is an opportunity for him to come in and take some minutes pretty quick.
Definitely.
Yeah. Look, this game was a weird game. Look, nothing really changed from what we haven't seen, except for Jurisic returning to the attacking mid role, which we haven't seen in 1.5 years. I felt like it was the same Panathinaikos, the same attitude, the same thing going on. Calabria getting injured in the 7th or so minute, pulled hamstring, so he'll be out, what, good 2 to 3 weeks, which will lead into the international break. Kortidas now stepped up, played fantastic. He played fantastic. I've been a bit harsh on him in the past, maybe last year, 2 years ago, but he never lets you down. He rarely lets you down. Comes in, does the job as a professional. This is a guy that was facing uncertainty that it would be him that would be going. There was rumors, back to Asteras Tripolis, etc. But he's been a great servant to the club. Always comes in, professional, does the job. May make a mistake, but he hasn't really shown at all this year. Amid all the chaos, he's been a certainty and one of the bright few things. So I really commended. So he came in, did the job, but Panathinaikos was never really threatened. Asteras came to defend the game. So it's frustrating that we couldn't get a goal in open goal. And I always had the feeling the goals are not going to come through open play. In our messages, and I don't want to refer to them, whatever, but it's like you're going to see that this was always going to be a game where it was just going to take one kind of moment to get the lead, and it was at least going to force us to play a little bit more, to just come out of their shell. We didn't really have any notable chances after when we got the goal. They were still a bit stubborn. I think there was a really good keeper save when we were Nilor as well, their keeper, but nothing really big. But we did get the killer goal to really settle the match, and I think had that not gone in, we probably would have seen a little bit more nervous play from Panathinaikos, things that we're used to. There was one thing that I did notice was around that 15th minute where Rafa Benitez, and then he was constantly having chats with Chirivella. It was just constant. He was constantly talking to him. So what Chirivella's role was from about the 15th minute onwards was, when we had the ball in the defense, he would come back, act as the 5th defender, get the ball and bring it up. So everything just started from him. All the ball playing, decision making, everything started coming through Chirivella. So, and there was a lot of communication between Chirivella and Rafa in regards to that. So could be how we move forward, how we play, similar to like what Perez used to do, where Perez used to come get the ball and everything used to go through him. Adal wasn't that kind of player, but it looks like we will be looking to get Chirivella more on the ball, be the primary ball player. Dragowski didn't really make a save at all. Wasn't really tested. They had a couple of okay chances. And our former player, Emmanuel Lidis, I think it was.
Yeah.
He had maybe their best chance, and that's about it. The one that he just struck it from his left and it went really wide, but they didn't really threaten. 3 points is 3 points. You take that at the end of the day. We're sitting 4th, 5 points behind. But what doesn't work for us is that Olympiacos has played all their 3 derbies. AEK PAOK have played 2 of their derbies. We've only played 1. So that doesn't favour us too well overall in terms of easy runs, difficulty. But we've played, I think, a lot more of the top teams. So you Levedaikos, Kifisia, teams that can really surprise and sting you. Aris away as well. So we have had a couple of those mid-tier matches done. So yeah, that was my thoughts on the game. I really didn't see anything different too much from what we have seen. It was just professional approach, 2-0, get the win. But and we've talked a little bit. I would say a little bit. We've talked quite a bit about this off the air. And even at 2-0, we didn't see him. This is now his 3rd coach, and he still can't get minutes. But Taborda, Argentine, number 10, can play on the left wing. Came in with pretty much a bit of hype about him being Argentinian from Boca Juniors on loan, where he was killing it coming in. And then we've seen him really get limited minutes. I thought at 2-0 would have been a perfect opportunity to give him 25 minutes or so. 20, 25 minutes. Still didn't see any minutes. Jurisic, 33-year-old, who barely can stay on the field for hit that 70-minute mark, got 90 plus minutes that he got to play. What do you guys make of it? You ask a couple of like people, Greeks, sources, anything like that, and they say he's still tactically adapting. He's adapting to Greece, gaining fitness, but he came from a season in Argentina. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's concerning to say the least. And you're right about the fitness bit that he was playing full games. Is it Platense, the team he was on loan with? And he certainly didn't. He wasn't off season or missing games because of injury or anything like that. Because I think we were watching him quite closely in the weeks leading up to that transfer being finalised. So I hate to think it's fitness because then there's some serious concerns around injuries he may have been carrying or not aware of, but there's no reports or indication of that. Tactically, does he have to adapt? Okay, yeah, that can be quite common for South American players, but how long has he been with us now? 2 months?
Two
Minimum?
months.
Yeah. So you think after 2 months with the club and trying to adapt that he'd be able to at least spend 30 minutes on the ground and being able to cater towards the team's needs. So I'm seriously starting to question that maybe he's not the complete player that we thought he was. Maybe he's very one-dimensional in his style, and that one-dimensional play suited Platense to a T, but he can't adapt to different styles of play at other clubs. That's my fear. I hope I'm wrong, but geez, I'm starting to get concerned.
And it's logical that we think that way because it's just that coach who can't get minutes.
How many have we had follow that path in recent years? Vilena, Max, and so on.
Max couldn't stay fit. Vilena was just not a right tactical fit at the end. And then now Taborda, I don't know. Look, I think a lot is really going to say, when we preview the Atromitos Cup game, because if he doesn't get minutes there, I think it's a wasted signing. If he can't even get minutes in that game, because that's the game he should be getting minutes. Because now, what, Jurisic is 33. How do you expect him to back up 4 days later? And Bakasetas is out injured. You'd think naturally he'd be the guy to come in.
The last Argentinian player that we got that we can sort of look at how they adjusted was Palacios. And he did take about a month or so, maybe a couple of months max to sort of adjust, and then he had some great form after that. So I think it was definitely no more than 2 months from memory. And even then, he was playing still regular 90-minute games, but it just didn't show his true potential in those games. So, up until now, it's a concern. I'm willing to say, you know what? Let's see now the first 90-minute run that he gets. I'm going to be watching him closer as everyone else, and I think that's going to be then the true test. And you're right, if it doesn't come on in the cup game, something seriously wrong.
Yeah, yeah. It's just strange that because Pantovic is getting game time or a few minutes. He got okay minutes today. He got at least 20 minutes. Missed the sitter, but he did come on. But Yeah, his one is a strange one. But we do have the Greek Cup game against Atromitos, which will be played away. So let's see what happens there, because let's see what kind of fatigue, if we do have any fatigue, seeing that we played last week in Europe, in Rotterdam, played then in Athens, and then we got Atromitos away. So that's going to be an interesting one. With how Atromitos is traveling. They beat Orphy 3-1 in Crete. Orphy's going terrible. They've drawn against Levadeco 2-2, so they've been in the last game, and then prior to that we beat them 1-0 in the league. So it's a bit they're in decent form. You can't say they're not in good form. I think they're in that solid Atromitos form that we know them to be. So it depends which Atromitos is going to show up as well. How their depth, how much depth they've got, any injuries, anything like that. Because for us, I don't think we might take that game too serious, because we've obviously got the following few days after that would be Volos away in the Greek league, and that obviously is very important for us. I think it's fair to say every game from here on is like a final. The way we've sort of begun our season, Volos isn't going too bad either. I think, yeah, they're equal points with us, Volos, at the moment. They did get trounced by Bulk today, 3-0. But it's the draws that have hurt us compared to with them, it's the losses. So Volos away, yeah, our history with Volos isn't the greatest compared to what relationship other clubs have with Volos. Um, how do you guys see that game?
Hard to call. We don't know what Rafa's gonna. He's obviously gonna have more time on the training ground. He's gonna see. Hopefully for Atromitos, he's gonna see younger players that announce themselves, and maybe they get some minutes. It's the sample size is small, so first and foremost, make us hard to beat. I don't think we're gonna see Taborga in that one. Yeah, the rest is just who knows. Who knows?
I'm more interested in seeing the lineup for Tromito, because that's then going to dictate the lineup for Volo.
To an extent, yes.
Yeah, and I think that he's going to have to rotate players and maybe experiment a little bit, because
You have to have the youth players as well, don't you?
yes, yeah, you're right.
How many is he gonna have? Bregu, that's it. Maybe Fikai, Bokos is out.
Well, Fike was on the bench.
That's the thing. You have Bregu and Fikai. That's it.
Is it one or two?
You have to have two.
You gotta have two. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you
Unless we see something crazy, Kotaric in goal, which I can't see happening.
But is it a youth player or a homegrown player? Because he's
both.
But he's not a youth player. I mean,
He's not youth.
He's
okay, but he's come from our academy.
Yeah, but I think it's more you got to be under a certain age, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, looking at the Volos form, they've lost all their hard games,
and
they've won against all the bottom teams. So let's see, are we one of those hard ones that we beat them away? Their pitch is
they were okay against Bulk, primarily in that first half. They kept them at arm's length. Bulk, admittedly, were a bit slow out of the blocks. Then once Bulk got going, they got the first, and they blew them away. It was too much for them.
Yeah, but that ground isn't great. So once again, referencing the Leofordo's interview. He's
What?
talking about certain grounds
Yeah.
being not up to scrap. That they're pretty much what we would say in English as like paddocks, chewed, the grass chewed by cows, everything. So Volos is a team that doesn't maintain their field, and they've done that purposely to maintain a difficult standard for visiting ball playing teams to control the game essentially. So that's the comment there. So
Worth noting this time round, we've played there before, but this time we've asked for 7,000 tickets and we've been given 7,000 tickets. So maybe that plays in our hands. We'll have a decent following on the day.
oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
It just happened right before we went live now tonight.
Yeah, because usually we get declines for tickets there. Yeah, it looks like it got announced that we do have crowd there. Yeah, let's change course now. We've talked about the football side. We do have the basketball, and like the football side, the basketball saw a big loss. This was in my opinion, a big loss versus Virtus Bologna. On the road, 92-75. Really poor. We didn't have Holmes as the big man, but just the team was really poor. I don't even know what to say. It was just everything was just shocking from the get-go. Shooting was poor, just execution, game plan, just that intensity that we're used to seeing, especially against a really bad team in Bologna, and they really smashed us. And then in the Greek league, we did beat Promethéa pretty comfortably, but Ataman did come out swinging in that press conference, saying that not all is well. I'm uneasy with those comments. Do you guys want to talk before, or do you want me to go ahead? Why? I'll let me just say why I feel uneasy with those comments. I think he's becoming a bit of a notorious whinger. I think he's becoming a bit. It's there's always something in the background. Like 2 years ago, oh, we're gonna make it to the Euro final, and he delivered on that. Then last year, he was like, it was always something different, and now this year, probably invested even more in players than the team, and he's coming up saying that the dream team's not ready in October. There's issues in the background, etc., etc. It's just maybe take a step back, just chill, say, look, we're still learning, whatever, we're building, etc. But he's coming off now as a serial whinger, and it doesn't sit right with me that he's just on these constant sort of defensive. The team is bad, etc., etc. Your team, Dimitris Giannakopoulos, has given you the money, bringing these players, etc. So he's just got to maybe take a step back. He's at the end of the day a three-time EuroLeague winner. But maybe sometimes he's just got to take a bit of a step back with his outbursts and just what he says in the press.
I agree, and you wonder whether there's more pressure on him from Giannakopoulos, and it's creating that sort of environment. And one can only speculate, but going back to the Bologna game, it was completely unacceptable. And yeah, we never really looked like we were going to come back into that.
No.
No.
What's he referring to? I'd love to know. Not that we're ever going to find out, but you could tell like Shorts is offered in this particular game. No Holmes, like that was a huge loss. I know you've said before, Sturgs, the sword at the moment is a loss. Is he referring to that? Is there something else? Is it attitudes that he sees in the sheds, in the dressing room? Who knows?
I don't know. The team, like I've met them, they're all pretty chill, happy bunch. Like I'm not too sure what he means from that, unless he's just trying to deflect, etc. But um, yeah, it's like I said, a little bit annoying for me. It's just like the constant thing. Yeah, I actually believe that this is his last year with us. I actually
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
after this year, he won't be with the club. We're gonna replace him with former player Saras, who just won the EuroLeague with Fenerbahce, who isn't doing too well at the moment with Fenerbahce, but um, that's what I see the change happening. That Saras will come coach us next. His wife is Greek. She wants to move back to Greece. Um, so that's my feeling. But yeah, it is a bit of a weird one what we're seeing with Ataman with his outbursts.
But if you're the owner and you've invested more money in the club than you ever have, and you've given the coach the players that he's wanted, would you be happy?
No.
Um,
I mean, he does deserve a bit of respect because he's won your EuroLeague, so you're obviously going to give him a bit of leeway, but at the same time,
I think he's gonna let him see it out. I
Oh,
think
he won't. Yeah, he won't go anytime soon. Not
no,
not
no,
during the
no, he
season.
won't sack. He'll
Yeah,
probably let him
exactly.
see out the season, but at the
Exactly.
same time, you wouldn't be overly happy though if
He
you
can't
lose.
dine out on that EuroLeague from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think that's well and truly in the past now. Like I'd be putting him under pressure to turn that performance around. Different if you lost by 2 or 3 points and you're in it right to the end, you're fighting hard, but not when you lose by that margin and you're not playing great. So,
I don't think this result would matter too much. There'll be questions, but it's not like the deal breaker. If it was like Olympiacos and we lost this much, then yeah, different question, different situation. Um, but
and
yeah, this one's
you
not the deal
can
breaker.
you can argue otherwise though, because you can say Olympiacos is actually top four, final four last year, one of the better clubs in the league, whereas Virtus Bologna aren't exactly contenders. Now, I wouldn't react off the back of one game, but fair to say that our form has been very patchy since the start of the season. So I can't say we've been great except for this one game.
Even dating back to last season, the way we made it to the final four, but then what? The Protaflima, we won the first game. Then what?
Yeah.
In the final series, it's not just this season.
And look, I could be completely wrong here, but losing Lesaur seems to have killed this club's momentum. I don't think we've ever sort of regained that top-notch form without him in the squad. Now, Holmes looks great, early signs, but Lesaur missing is we've lost that spark, we've lost that edge, and we rely on too heavily on none.
And he's had some off days recently. This season, more often than not, they've been off days.
Yep.
Yeah. Lesaur is obviously a huge factor. We're over reliant on none, and I think bringing TJ Shorts, we don't really have a apart from Slukas, an actual playmaker. Lorenzo Brown should have been that playmaker, but that didn't work out. Um, yeah, it's just very, very weird balanced team. Shorts is obviously there to take the scoring pressure off. Um, none, but he's doing okay, but he's not hitting those big numbers that we saw at Paris.
He's starting to warm up. For each game, he seems to be getting better numbers, and he
Yeah,
seems to be more comfortable. So I'm happy to sort of give him more time to get in the group. But I think we need to sort out the 5 position. And look, Holmes early on has shown some positive signs. Saban's far too inconsistent, but we needed a fullback.
Yeah, he's obviously the missing player. But he is meant to be back. He is meant to be back. Rumored that 3 weeks that they said. So let's hope. Let's hope that he does come back. Because obviously we do miss him. Like the team is absolutely the passion, everything on the field, the physical, like the rebounds, everything. We do need that.
It's almost it's a poor example I'm about to use, but back in the day when Eric Palmer-Brown went missing for an extended period of time and we're all wondering what happened to him, it's got a bit of that vibe to it where he should have, like the original forecast was that he should have been well and truly back. I mean, weren't they saying he was going to play it at the Final Four last year?
Yeah, that was the timeline.
And yet here we are several months later and he's still yet to get any minutes.
Yeah, the timeline was the Final Four. So it's interesting how that all has changed. Yeah, but you did raise something. Yeah, with Eric Palmer Brown actually. Now I'm gonna go back to the soccer. He was the main starter under Rui,
Yep.
and he's now
Yep.
nowhere to be seen. He's making the bench, obviously, but that's as far as he is at the moment, a benchy. So yeah, a lot of questions there.
Look,
Uh,
Ingerson hasn't been
Ingerson,
bad.
that's
Ingerson's
right.
been
That's
brilliant.
what I was going to say.
Ingerson for me has been brilliant. You can
It's up to
argue.
him.
You can.
Palmer Brown will play against Atrombitos. It's up to him to put a 10 out of 10 performance in.
Yeah, you can argue Dubar's been good. I
Yeah.
think I think we've seen a couple. He's done a lot of good. But he's almost the undroppable. The guy that was probably the most criticized for that transfer is
Yeah.
coming out looking like the
That's
best.
always the case with this club.
Yeah,
And the
It
one
is
we hype up, but I remember I was waxing lyrical. I was ecstatic when we signed Taborda. And look at that now in hindsight. And that turns out to be an Alafouzo signing.
yeah.
yeah.
So very interesting where we're at as a club. Very interesting.
Well,
Both clubs, I should say.
yeah. Dubar, I think, had the most minutes of any player. I'd be
Yeah,
wrong on that.
him. Yeah, I think it'd be him and very close. Kyriakopoulos, but yeah, Tubal
Yeah.
would be the main one. And obviously Seren since Maxi left.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. All right, boys. I think we're almost towards the end here. Anything want to finish up with?
Just win. Both. Just win.
For me, it's a call out of one of our regular listeners who has been commenting on our YouTube account and he's called out Benitez as an appointment that we're keen to see some success with. So, Ian, thanks for the comments, much appreciated.
Yes.
And he's hoping that we can share that success.
Thank you, Ian. I know you're a regular commentator or give commentary on our YouTube, so do appreciate that. Thank you.
It would be good though. Imagine doing podcasts. You win games constantly, stress free. Everything's rosy. You're in contention for trophies. You win trophies. Imagine us on here. It'd be so much easier.
Doesn't happen very often, does it?
If
No.
podcasts were a thing 15 years ago, we'd be rosy, but yeah,
Yeah.
here we go. All right,
Uh,
Jen. Like always, pleasure.